Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Studio 211. Today's performance is the Polar Express. I hope you enjoy the show. If you would like to see it again, it is posted on Mr. Minister's webpage. And wait, ready to go.
On Christmas Eve, many years ago, I lay quietly in my bed. I did not rustle the sheets. I grew slowly and silently. I was listening for a sound a friend had told me I'd never hear. The ringing bells of Santa's sleigh. There's no Santa. Mr. Monte, I went to 4.
Stop.
What? What? It's going to 4.
You have to know.
My heart? 3. It's where she is. Yeah, 3.
All right. Is it moving?
Do I just wait till it goes?
Yes.
My friend insisted, but I knew he was wrong. Late that night, I did hear sounds through, not of ringing bells.
From outside came the sounds of the hissing and squeaking metal. I looked through my window and saw a train standing perfectly still in front of my house.
It was wrapped in an apron of steam. Snowflakes fell lightly around it. A conductor stood at the open door of one of the cars.
He took a large pocket watch from his vest, then looked up at my window. I put on my robe and slippers and robe. I tiptoed downstairs and out the door. Roll aboard!
The conductor cried out. I ran up to him.
Well, are you coming? Where? Why, to the North Pole, of course. This is the Polar Express. I took his outstretched hand and he pulled me aboard.
I took an outstretch in his hand and he pulled me up. The train was filled with other children, all in their pajamas and nightgowns. We sang Christmas carols and ate candy with nuggets, centers, and white as snow.
We drank hot cocoa as thick and rich as melted chocolate bars. Outside, the lights of towns and villages flicked in the distance of the Polar Express race northward.
Soon there were no more lights to be seen. We traveled through cool, dark forests where lean bulls roamed, and white-tailed rabbits hid from our train as it thundered through the quiet wilderness.
We climbed mountains so high, it seemed as if we could scrape the moon. But the Polar Express never slowed down. Faster and faster we ran, along rolling over peaks and through valleys, like a roller coaster.
The mountains turned to hills, the hills to snow-covered plains. We crossed a barren desert of ice, a great polar ice cap. Lights appeared in the distance. They looked like the lights of a strange ocean liner sailing on a frozen sea.
There's the North Pole, said the conductor.
The North Pole. It was a huge city sitting on top of the world, filled with factories everywhere, where every Christmas toy was made. First we saw Noel's. They are gathering at the center of the city, the conductor told us. That's where Santa will give the first gift of Christmas. Who receives the first gift? We all asked. He receives the first. He will choose one of you.
Look, shouted one of the children, the elves.
Outside we saw hundreds of bells. As our train drew closer to the center of the North Pole, we slowed to a crawl. So crowded were the streets with Santa's helpers. When the Polar Express could go no farther, we stopped, and the conductor led us outside. We pressed through the crowd to the edge of a large open circle. In front of us stood Santa's sleigh. The reindeer were excited. They pranced, ringing the silver bells that hung from their harnesses. It was a magical sound like nothing I've ever heard. Across the circle, the elves moved apart and Santa appeared. The elves cheered wildly. He marched over to us and pointed to me, said, "Let's have this fellow here."
He jumped into his sled. The conductor handed me up. I sat on Santa's knee and he asked, "What would you like for Christmas?"
I knew I could have any gift I could imagine, but the thing I wanted most for Christmas was not inside of Santa's giant bag. What I wanted more than anything was one of those silver bells from the reindeer in Santa's sleigh.
When I asked, Santa smiled. Then he gave me a hug and told an elf to cut a bell from his harness. The elf tossed it up to Santa. He stood holding the bell high above him and called out,
The first gift of Christmas.
As soon as we were back inside the Polar Express, the other children asked to see the bell. I reached into my pocket, but the only thing was there I felt was a hole. I had lost the silver bell from Santa Claus sleigh.
Let's hurry outside and look for it, one of the children said, but the train gave a sudden lurch and started moving. We are on our way home. It broke my heart to lose the bell.
When the train reached my house, I sadly left the children. I stood at my doorway and waved goodbye. The conductor yelled something from the moving train, but I couldn't hear it.
What? I yelled at him.
He cupped his hand around his mouth. Merry Christmas!
The Polar Express let out a loud blast from its whistle and sped away.
On Christmas morning, my little sister Sarah and I opened our presents. When it looked as if everything had been unwrapped, Sarah found one last small box behind the tree. It had my name on it. Inside of it was a silver bell. It was a note.
Found this on the seat of my sleigh. That hole in your pocket. Sewed that hole in your pocket. Mr. Claus. I shook the bell. It made the most beautiful sound my sister had never heard, but my mother said, "Oh, that's too bad." "Yes, it's broken," said my father.
When I chickened the bell, my parents had not heard a sound.
At one time, most of my friends could hear the bell, but as years passed, it fell silent for all of them. Even Sarah found one Christmas that she could no longer hear its sweet sound. Through I've grown old, the bell still rings for me, as it does for all who truly